Commander Adrian Hale had been in many dangerous situations before. He had stood on battlefields where the sky burned with orbital fire. He had piloted damaged ships through asteroid storms. He had negotiated with pirates who smiled while holding blasters under the table. But nothing in his career had prepared him for the moment an alien royal guard walked directly up to him and said, "Commander Hale, the Empress requests your presence tonight." Adrian blinked. The Empress? Yes. Tonight? The guard nodded calmly, privately. And suddenly the most powerful woman in the galaxy wanted to meet him alone. The Palace of Stars. The Tharvian Empire ruled more than 80 star systems. Their capital world, Valaris, was a place most humans only saw in documentaries. Floating cities drifted through violet clouds while towers of crystal metal reflected the glow of 3 suns. Adrian had only arrived 2 days earlier as part of the United Earth diplomatic delegation. The mission was simple on paper: negotiate trade routes and military cooperation between humanity and the Tharvian Empire. In reality, it was a delicate balancing act between 2 civilizations that barely understood each other. And at the center of it all was Empress Lysara Viral. No one truly knew her age. No one questioned her authority. And no one refused a summons from her. The invitation. The human delegation had been invited to a formal reception inside the Imperial Palace. Adrian stood along the edge of the massive hall, watching diplomats talk nervously while alien nobles glided across polished floors. The palace ceiling arched high above them, revealing the stars through transparent crystal. It felt less like a building and more like a cathedral dedicated to the galaxy itself. That was when the royal guard approached him. Tall, armored, silent. "The Empress wishes to see you tonight," the guard repeated. Adrian glanced toward the center of the room. Empress Lysara sat upon a raised platform surrounded by advisors and guards. Even from across the hall, she was impossible to ignore. Her species, known as the Tharvians, resembled humans in shape, but there were subtle differences. Her skin shimmered faintly with pale silver tones. Long dark hair flowed like liquid shadow down her back. And her eyes glowed softly like distant stars. Adrian cleared his throat. Did she say why? No. Did I do something wrong? The guard tilted his head slightly. The Empress did not indicate displeasure. Well, that's comforting. Rumors. When Adrian returned to the human quarters later that evening, word had already spread. You're meeting her alone? Ambassador Rena told him. That's what the guard said. That's unusual. How unusual? Extremely. Adrian leaned against the wall. Great. Another diplomat shook his head. No foreign officer has ever been summoned privately by the Empress. That makes me feel worse. Rena studied him carefully. Did anything unusual happen during the reception? Adrian thought for a moment. Well, I did answer one of her questions directly. Directly? She asked what humans value most. And what did you say? Freedom. Rena sighed. That probably caught her attention. The midnight corridor. At midnight, Adrian followed a royal guard through the silent palace corridors. The halls were dimly lit, illuminated by floating spheres of soft light. Massive windows revealed the capital city glowing far below. Am I allowed to know where we're going? Adrian asked. The Empress's private chambers. Of course. The guard stopped before a tall silver door. You will enter alone. Right. The door slid open silently. Adrian stepped inside. The Empress. The chamber was enormous. Tall windows opened onto a balcony overlooking the city. Soft blue lights glowed along the walls. And standing near the balcony was Empress Lysara. She turned slowly as Adrian entered. You came. Adrian nodded. It seemed like a bad idea not to. The Empress smiled faintly. I admire honesty. He glanced around. No guards. They are nearby, but not listening. That is intentional. Adrian folded his arms. So, why am I here? The Empress walked slowly across the room. Because I wanted to speak with a human who does not hide behind diplomacy. Pretty sure I'm terrible at diplomacy. That is precisely why I chose you. A different conversation. For the next hour, their conversation was unlike any diplomatic meeting Adrian had ever experienced. They didn't discuss trade. They didn't discuss politics. Instead, the Empress asked questions. About Earth. About human history. About the strange way humans formed alliances even after centuries of conflict. Your species is unpredictable, she said. That's one word for it. Another would be resilient. Adrian shrugged. We survive. The Empress stepped closer. Tell me something honestly. Dangerous request. Why do humans explore space so eagerly? Adrian thought for a moment. Curiosity. And fear. Fear. We're afraid of being alone in the universe. Lysara studied him quietly. That answer is unexpectedly vulnerable. The hidden problem. Eventually, the Empress moved toward a console near the wall. A holographic star map appeared. This, she said, is the true reason I summoned you. Adrian stepped closer. Several star systems blinked red. Border worlds, she explained, attacked by an unknown force. Pirates.
No.
Another empire? Unclear. Adrian frowned. So why tell me? Because humans are not predictable. That's still not an explanation. Lysara looked directly into his eyes. My advisors believe diplomacy with Earth is unnecessary. But you disagree. Yes. Why?
She paused.
Because you answer my question honestly. The threat. The Empress explained the situation. Several Tharvian colonies had recently been attacked by unidentified ships. The attackers struck quickly, destroyed military installations, and vanished before reinforcements arrived. No one knew who they were, or what they wanted. My generals believe it is a rival empire testing our defenses, Lysara said. And you? I believe it may be something else. Such as? She expanded the star map. The attacks formed a pattern. A slow movement toward the Tharvian capital. Adrian stared at it. That's not random.
No.
That's a reconnaissance path. Yes. Someone's mapping your defenses. Lysara nodded. And my advisors refused to consider that possibility. Why the human? Adrian crossed his arms. So you called me here because humans have a reputation. For what? Seeing threats others ignore. That's flattering. And because you're not part of my political structure. Meaning, you have no reason to lie to me. Adrian thought about it. So, you want my opinion? Yes. Off the record. Yes. He studied the star map again. If this pattern continues, he traced a line toward the capital system. They'll strike here next. Lysara's expression darkened. That was my fear. The plan. For the next several hours, Adrian and the Empress studied the map together. They identified weaknesses in the Imperial defense network, blind spots between patrol routes, areas where attackers could slip through undetected. Your fleet is too centralized, Adrian said. Explain. If someone disrupts your command ships, the rest of the fleet loses coordination. That is accurate. You need decentralized control. Lysara nodded slowly. You think like a strategist. I think like someone who's been ambushed before.
The attack.
3 days later, the unknown ships arrived. Exactly where Adrian predicted. Near the outer edge of the capital system. But this time, the Tharvian fleet was ready. Defense squadrons intercepted the attackers before they could reach the planet. The battle was short and decisive. The attackers retreated after losing several ships. And the Tharvian Empire realized something important. Someone had predicted the attack. Aftermath. That evening, Adrian received another message. The Empress requests your presence. Again. When he arrived in her private chamber, Lysara stood near the balcony. The attack occurred precisely where you predicted. Lucky guess.
No.
She turned toward him. You saw the pattern others ignored. Adrian shrugged. Humans are good at paranoia. That quality saved my world. The real reason. The Empress stepped closer. When I summoned you for our first meeting, you wanted advice. Yes. But also something else. What? She studied his face carefully. I wanted to know if humans could be trusted. And your conclusion? Lysara smiled softly. You told me the truth. Most of the time. That is enough. A different future. Weeks later, the human delegation prepared to leave Valaris. The negotiations had succeeded. Human and Tharvian fleets would now share intelligence about unknown threats. A historic alliance. Adrian stood on the palace balcony one last time. The doors opened behind him. Lysara stepped outside. You are returning to Earth. That's the plan. Your species will play an important role in the galaxy's future. Adrian smiled slightly. No pressure. The Empress looked out at the stars. Our first meeting was supposed to be secret. Technically, it still is. Yes. She glanced toward him. But history will remember it. Adrian raised an eyebrow.
Why?
Because that night, her glowing eyes reflected the distant stars. The Tharvian Empress chose the human who might save an empire. And for the first time since arriving on Valaris, Adrian realized something. The secret meeting hadn't just been about a threat. It had been about trust. And sometimes, trust between civilizations began with a single conversation in the quiet hours of the night.